What is happening, people? It is Uncle Nick, and I am back at you as promised with a log clean and press video. Now, I will be mainly focusing on the clean. I will be hitting the press. I will be going over that as well. I'm not leaving that out. But the reason why I'm focusing on the clean is, one, it is the biggest part of the movement, cleaning and pressing the log. There's a lot going on with the clean, and I do not want to miss anything for you guys. And two, I used to suck at the clean, so I don't want to see you guys go through that. I want you guys to go out there with some idea of what needs to happen to get that log to your chest the most efficient way as possible. It's about efficiency. So what I mean by that is, you want to be able to get the log from down here up to your front rack position as fast and as cleanly as possible, because you want that strength for the press. If you're wasting all your energy on the clean, your press is going to get funky. It's just going to make your life a lot harder, which was my case not that long ago. It is something I'm still honing to this day. Basically, the meat and potatoes of this is going to be the clean, like I said. And the reason why I keep repeating that is because it is important to be efficient at the clean. Without any further ado, guys, let's get the show on the road. Alright guys, so first things first is you gotta pick it up off the floor. So that's what we're gonna go over. So on the pick, just like anything else, you're gonna breathe and brace, pick the log. Now, what I'm gonna do differently is I'm not gonna pick and go straight into my lap. I'm gonna pick and stand straight up to where I'll be biomechanically supported. I'll be able to hold on to this thing all day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step up just like we would on deadlift setup, get this thing as close as possible. Now I want you to focus on how I pick this log. So I'm going to grab the log, I'm going to get my air. I have my brace. Now when I pick, watch my wrist. I'm going to pick and turn my wrist down. Now on the clean, this is going to serve a purpose. So now I'm biomechanically supported. I can stand here all day long as I can hold on to this thing. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rebreathe. I'm going to get my air again up top. Now the next part goes fast, so I'm going to do it in one motion to show you exactly what's going to happen, and then I'm going to break it down. This is essentially what happened. So basically I went down into my seat, which this is my seat, and you notice how my elbows are up, my wrists are still pointed down. So I don't sit here with the log. I'm not a big guy. I don't have the power belly to rest the log on. I have to use my speed and my explosiveness. I'm like 5'9", 5'10", 200 pounds. I'm not a big guy by stature. So what happens is I get my air, I come down here, and I actually use my down momentum to rebound. And then the reason why my wrists are turned down is I snap them back and snap my elbows under. That's why everything is up here, because I'm going to be torquing back on this log. So I'm going to come up, rebound, and use that momentum. And my hips are coming through. So you'll see as I go down, as I rebound, the first thing to come up is my butt. So I go down, boom, snap through. Down, snap through. Down, snap through. See where my elbows and wrists end up? I can't see anything but what is directly above me. So, with that, the most important thing you can do here is be fast and violent. Do not slow that momentum down.
90 pounds is rough.
Yeah, 90 pounds it turns into cardio. But the best thing you can do is pick here, take your time, get set. Belly breath, squeeze. Wrists are turned down. Down, fire through, hips come through. My wrists and elbows are snapping under. The log is never leaving contact with my body. It is rolling up my body. So as my hips come through, I'm getting that triple extension. Just like this. And I'm firing that log up to my chest. Alright? So there will be 2 points in this where I'll go over triple extension. It'll be on the clean, and it'll be on the press. But the best thing you can do, the hips are what make it efficient. That's where you generate all your momentum, is from those hips scooping through. That's your lever. Just like a stone, a kettlebell swing, a K clean even. Your hips are the focal point of a clean or anything loading. And a log clean is essentially loading it to your chest. That's all you're doing. So recap on that. Step up to the log, pick, wrist down, belly breath. Down, rebound, snap through, hips come through, elbows snap up and under. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the front rack position. The next thing is the front rack position, and this is where time is of the essence. You only have so much time with weight here before shit gets weird. You're gonna see stars, you're gonna have a lot of head pressure. It's not a comfortable place to be. That's why we embrace the suck, people. This is after you've cleaned it and you have it here. Just like any other front rack position with a squat or a push press, you want that thing as close to your body as possible. Now this is 12 inches in diameter, so you're gonna be very limited. That's why on that clean, it's important to fire your elbows through and snap your wrist back so you don't end up here, you end up here. So the log is essentially creating that center line over your hips because you want your leg drive on the dip and drive to go into the log. So if your front rack position is stable, it means you're gonna have as much input to power from that leg drive into the log as possible. And it just goes back to being efficient, no wasted power. Just like a car. You don't want any wasted horsepower getting to the wheel. Same thing, you don't want any wasted power coming from that leg drive to your log for the press. It needs to be minimized as much as possible. Efficiency is key on any clean. Now this log is buried in my throat. If I can talk you through this in this position, I can talk you through anything. Because this isn't easy, even at 90 pounds. The log is directly over my hips. That's where it needs to be, my elbows are high. So what I'm gonna do there, now the biggest thing I see, and it's instinct, but the biggest thing I see is when people get that log here, they do this. And then try to rebreathe. Now watch what happens to the log when I completely exhale. It's sunk probably 2 or 3 inches. I just completely left my brace. Now you're not gonna get that real estate back no matter how hard you try with weight on your chest. It's not gonna happen. So to remedy that, it's gonna take some mental discipline. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but that's why we always preach get comfortable with being uncomfortable because of lifts like this. So what I'm gonna do to remedy that is I'm gonna be fighting every fiber of my being to exhale and get a big breath. What I'm gonna do is like I do on yoke or anything else, breathing under load. It's gonna be short, choppy, so I can keep squeezing on my core. So it's gonna sound something like, because it allows me to keep squeezing. Now this is where I breathe. I'm gonna exhale for you to show you what happens. I'm now in a compromised position. It's not as high versus it was stable, it was tight, it was up against my body. The log was over my hips. So when my leg drive came in, it went right up. So right now we're gonna move from the front rack position to what's gonna go on when I go to press. So the press part. Now that we have established the front rack and where the log needs to be in that position, now it's gonna come in, the first part of the press is gonna be your dip and drive before you even start pressing. So the most important, one of the biggest mistakes I see with that is when people sink. So by sinking, I mean this. You notice how my upper body goes back and my knees bend forward out past my toes. So what that's doing is creating an imbalance. You're giving the log leverage here, so then you have to come back up forward. Naturally, that's what your body's going to do. You're not going to do this. And if you do, either way, the log is going to end up out here and not driving to the back of your head like you should be. So when you leg drive, just like your deadlift, your squat, any sort of, I mean, even when you jump, you go here. You don't go here to jump. You go here. You sit straight down. Your butt is going to try and track. You want your butt to track between your heels. It's straight. It's vertical. It is a vertical plane that your leg drives needs to be on. Not horizontal, no back and forth. You want to make that leg drive as efficiency, that's a pattern here, efficient as possible, so it's straight down, straight up. And it's not going to be deep. It's literally going to be boom, and you're going to hit. It's a dip and drive. It's not a sink. It's not a half squat. It's barely, I would go out on a limb and say barely even a quarter squat. So I'm here, chest is high, elbows are high, rebreathe, squeezing my butt. I'm going to squeeze my butt right before I press. So I'm going to, it's like slamming a cookie between your butt cheeks. You go here and you squeeze, and then you dip and drive. So what that is doing, it's that rubber band effect. So I do it right before I clean. I'm squeezing my butt. So when you draw a rubber band tight, what does it want to do? It wants to come back together. I'm getting everything tight in my posterior chain. So I'm going to squeeze my butt, dip and drive. Boom, and I'm under. Opening the window, firing my head through. Now when I go to drive, what I'm going to break down for you is the triple extension, the second triple extension in this motion. So as I go to drive, I'm triple extending about 3/4 into that pressing motion. So you're dipping, you're driving, and as soon as you're rising, you're punched into the ceiling. You start driving, you're rising, and your triple extension, you'll be right about here before you actually get under the log. As soon as you can see daylight underneath that log, you need to be advancing. If you fail and the log drops on your head, it's going to suck, but it's a good thing because it means you're getting your head through and your bar path is correct. If you're failing and it's falling away from you, it means you're too far out front. So you need to drive that log over your head and get under it. Lead with your chest, follow through with your head. Fast, one motion. Boom, open the window, put your head through it. I'm in my front rack position. Elbows are high, tight. I'm gonna squeeze my butt. Tight, knees out. Here, that's all I'm doing with my leg drive. Boom, snapping under. As soon as I see daylight under that log, my head is going through. Now you don't have to worry about dropping under as much when you're learning how to do this. You need to learn the timing between the leg drive and your press. The dropping under is going to be secondary, is the second most important thing in the whole pressing sequence. But you want to know what it feels like to get those legs engaged and really get that thing firing off your chest. Keep rolling, I'm just trying to breathe. So once you get that leg drive in, you get your timing right, then you can work on the push jerk, as some people call it. You ask Olympic, they'll call it something else. They won't call it a jerk because they're Olympic lifters. It all depends on who you ask. But push press, whatever. It doesn't matter, call it what you want. Get underneath that log, knees out, and that triple extension. That triple extension is important because you're getting the most out of your leg drive as possible, all the way up. And at my peak, I'm probably about half to 3/4 of the way pressed out. So that gives me slack to drop under for the lockout. Where the dropping under comes really important is when you get tired. You can make up for that. Now, I promise you, if you have a log cleaner press for reps, your press isn't gonna be the thing that fails first. It's not gonna be your shoulders, it's gonna be the clean and your back and your legs. Trust me on that. If you wanna do any sort of conditioning, just work log cleans because it will smoke you. Where was I going with that?
Come from the top, do the whole entire thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna go from the top. Walk up to the log, get set. I'm kinda in a deadlift stance. Get my air. Pick, wrist down, go down to the rebound. Elbows high, squeeze my butt. Gonna drive with my knees out. Snapping under. I'm gonna do this without the drop. Your head should still be firing through, same with your chest. Press the lockout, you just don't stop punching. That's punch, you're essentially here, so you're gonna drive at this angle. Not gonna drive here, you're gonna drive here. So the log ends up over your body center line. That's the end goal. To get it center line, train stability, so you can hold it there, because in comp, you're gonna have to wait for that down command. Long story short, guys, that is pretty much it as far as log clean and press. Now, like I said, I do things differently. Whereas when I pick, I stand straight up. I don't go straight to my lap and sit down there with it like you may have seen Olu done on his. He sits there, he's a big guy, he crushes. He's a brute strength guy. He can get away with it. I don't have the power belly. I'm not a big guy by stature. If I sit down there with it, I lose all that potential energy. So, like I said, the main thing that I do different is I snap down, snap up. I make it fast. I have a shorter leg drive because I'm explosive, and I use that explosive to my advantage. If you're not an explosive individual, start working on that. And by that, I mean go start doing sprints. Start doing exercises where it makes you change direction. Anything changing direction where you go from front, back to left, right, changing those horizontal planes will increase your explosiveness. With light farmers, with weight, picking up and going as fast as you can, getting something moving as fast as you can, prowlers, sled drags, violent fast motion in one or multiple directions. Guys, you can make explosiveness a thing. It's not, oh, he's explosive, I'm not. No. You can train to be an athlete, but you have to train like an athlete. You can't come in and do static lifts every day and just clean and expect it to speed up. You need to do stuff that makes you move fast. If your speed deadlifts don't feel like speed, drop weight, because you aren't training speed at that point anymore. Do stuff that forces you to move. I run sprints. I do a lot of sprints. I do stuff that makes me jump. Box jumps, that's explosive training. Box jumps with a medicine ball, explosiveness training. Speed squats with the front squat. Your front squat goes up, your log's gonna go up, because where are you holding the bar in a front squat? Front rack position. That gives you that power. That's what gives you that power. I SSB squat and I front squat, and that's what gives me that power, that front rack position. Anything that wants to break you forward to give you that resistance, because the log wants to do this to you as well. So even Jeff, who's holding the camera right now, I've actually seen him do log front squats. And Jeff, how are those?
They are absolutely miserable. But another thing too that they really help with is they help get your lats tight, because you also want your upper back tight. Yes. Because if your upper back's not tight, the log's going to fall forward, as you mentioned in the video.
Yep. And that just goes back to squeezing and getting your posterior chain tight. When I squeeze my butt, I'm flexing, I'm squeezing. Just like on the SSB bar, I went over on what I do to brace with the SSB. I rip that bar apart like Superman ripping his shirt apart. So it's the same thing with the log. I'm squeezing, everything is tight. And time is of the essence, guys, when you have that in the front rack position. Get your air, dip and drive, and go. You only want to do it once. You want it to go right the first time, because it's hard to reset after a bad rep with a clean and press, especially if you're pressing away. You get out of groove, you need to figure out how to fix it and fix it fast. But that is about it. That is all I have for you guys on the log clean and press. I hope that helps you guys. If you aren't training to be explosive, if you aren't training to be fast, if you aren't training like an athlete, start. Because it will help you in every single lift. Hands down. Whether you're cleaning something, whether you're squatting, whether you're deadlifting, overhead press, even if it's a static lift, if you have that explosive capability, that fast twitch, get those fast twitch muscles firing, it will only increase the capacity that you are able to move weight. Whether it'll make your 500 pounds move like 450 over time as you work up. It'll make those heavier weights will start moving faster, because you are learning how to be faster. You're learning how to be stronger, faster. Hard inputs to power. That is it. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope this helps you guys. That is what works for me. I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all. This is the way to do it. This is what has worked for me, and I'm still working on, I'm still honing. So until next time, get out there, get after it, and embrace the suck.